And we're live.
Alrighty, boys. Another week, another masterpiece. We're reading books out here. This time we're reading The Book of Five Rings by Miyamoto Musashi. How we feeling?
What's the podcast called?
Podcast.
Oh, nice.
I don't think
Okay.
that's taken.
No.
All right, who's going first?
I hated this. This was
Well,
ass. Oh, I don't
for
care.
one-
It sucks.
There we go.
Wait, should we go over the rating scale again?
Yeah,
that we're
Cody,
using?
if you don't mind breaking it down for us, the rating scale here.
Good reads.
Yeah, I gotta bring it up. Hold on.
Yeah, you should know that by heart by
I
now.
should, because I've had to look at it
You-
like 6 times.
You use
All
it
right,
every
1 is did not like it. 2 is it was okay. 3 is liked it. 4 is really liked it. And 5 is it was amazing. So where are you guys feeling on that scale?
I myself would have to give it, I think, a 2. Where
Thank Christ.
It is a 2.
I think it's
Definite
from a
2.
historical perspective, I think it's interesting, but it just isn't entertaining to read. I don't think that the medium that was chosen for this was like the best for what it's trying
All
to
right,
convey.
but it wasn't supposed to be entertaining. He wasn't trying
Of
to
course.
entertain you.
What
He
do
was
you
just-
mean? Why?
he-
Whoa.
I don't think no. I
it was
agree.
it was an instructional book. What do you mean?
When he was
You're
writing
the
the
Yeah,
one-
book.
it's not
Oh,
like a story. He's not
You're the
trying
one
to entertain
bitching about
people.
entertaining books. Why'd you pick a book that wasn't entertaining?
Well, because to me, this is what I like to read.
But it must not be because you gave it. What's your score?
I gave it a 2.
So it must not be. These books aren't for you because you gave it a fucking 2.
I didn't like this one, but you know, in terms of like other books that I've read, a lot of them aren't for entertainment value. They're for instructional or philosophical value rather than, you know, just being like, "Hey guys, it's magic. Here we go again."
All right.
I guess it's
mean,
real.
You know, it's fair
Yeah.
assessment.
What did you give it, Harley?
Oh, it's 2. This
2.
is. I won't give it a 1.
You did
No, I don't
say
think
you hated it.
Yeah,
I did
not
hate
a
it.
bad book.
Should we,
Yeah,
but
but
okay.
okay.
Give it
Fine.
two.
When I say hate, I mean fine. If I really
Here's
hated
my
it, I would
problem.
have tore the fucking.
If
virtual
we're talking
book
about entertainment value versus and like the difference in a 2 of Journey to the Center of the Earth and a 2 for the Book of Five Rings, the 2 for Journey to the Center of the Earth is way worse because that was supposed to be entertaining. This wasn't supposed to be entertaining, so I would understand lower ratings, but that last one was like a lower 2 than the 2 for Book of Five Rings. This was just
And I-
kind of like a boring read, and if you're not into like martial arts or maybe in the military, something like that, I don't think many people are gonna get something out of it.
Alright,
There's
I
two
it's,
different levels of shittiness. Okay, for
Right.
fucking Journey to Center of the Earth, it was
I
some
think-
French posh asshole talking about it.
I
And
think
this
we should
one, it was a
try our
Japanese
best to
posh
steer
asshole.
away from
This
talking
is still
about Journey for this
assholeish.
episode. We want to make the
No, I'm gonna talk
Hold
about
on,
fucking
hold
Journey. No, we ain't
Oh,
doing that
God.
because I'm gonna tell you how much Journey to Center of the Earth sucked cock, and I have to reference this one because so far we're 2 fucking books in, and I've sucked 2 cock so far, so I'm not having a good time. I'm gagging over
He's
here.
1 away
About
from
to be 3.
Lockjaw.
Oh yeah, I only got so many orifices left, Arjun. So that's why I keep bringing up Journey to Center of Earth.
yeah, that's a fair assessment. Yeah.
2. Harry, what did you say? Did you say?
You know, I give it a 2.5.
That's
That's a lot.
racist.
I tell you why. I read books similar to this kind of style in the Art of War or The Prince by Machiavelli kind of thing. It's interesting because the author that are writing these kind of reflect on the scenario they had to deal with back in the day. So it's kind of interesting to see
True, I agree.
what. Thanks for interrupting me. It's very interesting to see these samurais and swordsmen talk about their niche. But my critique, again, is I don't know, for a book about practicality and applying things. It's I think there are better stuff out there. That's just my take on it.
You're right. It was just too niche. This is like
Yeah,
very
yeah.
specific to sword fighting,
It's a very no bullshit approach.
which I
which-
appreciate.
Isn't that the Japanese kind of stance? Is it no
Yeah.
bullshit approach?
Yeah, I just don't know how well it'll translate into real world, and you know the structure of it is a little bit weird. With the Art of War, they just literally tell you this is the structure of how you should look at things. With this, it's like, oh, there's 5 books, take it or leave it. So it was a
great.
little. You're gonna have to kind of read through it to understand what you want to do with it. That's my assessment.
Can I give this a 1.75?
As long as you like elaborate on like
Um,
what went into the process of giving the rating.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 1.75.
Why? Oh, go ahead, sir.
I want to give it a 1, but realistically, it can't be a 1. There's got to be some dog shit books out there, and so I can't go 1, but it's not a 2 either.
Well, did you not like it, or would you say that you liked it?
I would not say that I liked it.
Why
Well,
did you
then,
not like it?
Off of our scale, that's a 1, right?
Well, no, that's 1 is, I guess, yeah, didn't. Well, I'm in between. I'm in between.
Okay.
1.75.
What? Why did you not like it? Why did you?
I have
or-
no
or
interest in
whatever?
the subject matter. Like they were saying, it's very niche, but also at the same time, it's not very in depth in the things that it is niche in. It's very shallow and not very wide. If that make it's not. Yeah, it's not wide or deep. It's very niche, very shallow. I didn't really get much out of it. Wasn't entertaining. Could be worse.
Could
But
be worse.
I like Journey better.
I love how
barely.
that's our phrase so far. Could be worse. Could be worse.
Yeah, it could be worse.
I felt like we've said that for both books.
How about you, Cody? What are you thinking?
I think I'm sitting at a 3 still.
A 3.
Come on!
Oh, okay.
So
That's
here's the
surprising.
thing, right? I liked it. It wasn't what I was expecting. I was just going into it expecting, a philosophy book. I don't really think it is a philosophy book. I mean, I think that there are philosophical points that we'll talk about here in a little bit. But I mean, I went into it expecting primarily philosophy, and I felt like after the first like 2.5 books, that was pretty much it. So.
You don't care about the philosophy of stabbing people in the eye. But I think that's everyone.
How dare you? How dare you?
Yeah, now this 3 is a weaker 3 than Journey for me. I prefer
Yeah,
Oh, you
Is
like
Journey a
it?
3 as well?
I
Yeah,
definitely
give
don't
Journey
think
a
it's
3.
I definitely don't think it's a bad book.
Wait, what was
No,
your
I don't think it's bad. I mean,
Not
like-
3.
I think it's 3, but
Oh,
for me personally, I mean, yeah, it's not the purpose it was written for, right? So
Yeah,
Sorry, what was your numerical rating again, Harry? I forgot.
I give it a
2, didn't you?
2.5.
2.5. Okay.
My experience reading it or listening to it, I should say, was vastly improved by using that reading by Master Chief. Not gonna lie,
You
it
do
was
that for the whole book.
yes, it
That's
was
hilarious.
actually really good.
what? What?
This is
you
an
read,
artificial intelligence, basically, that read it.
You read the Halo
Yeah.
version of it,
No,
No,
it's
not
just
the
a
Halo
voice,
version of
the
it. Or
or
narrator.
the Oh.
Yep,
That's
the
pretty
AI
funny.
voice of Master Chief read the Book of Five Rings,
Well,
and it
there's
was
like-
enjoyable. to listen
There's
to
like
it.
3 different fucking versions on Audible. I don't know which one to read. There was the Book of 5 Rings, a Book of 5 Rings, and just Book of 5 Rings.
It's
I'm
probably just
like-
different translators.
Well, one was like super short, one was long as hell, so I was like, all right, pick the middle one.
Oh yeah.
And it was free, because I'm like, I'm gonna pick the free one, so I gotta use an Audible credit. And man, I must have got the fucking Spotify guy on that one for the last one, because he sucked cock. I'm like, dude, you gotta. And to be fair, I guess reading this is like reading like a fucking instructional book, but you can put a low emphasis in your words, but no.
It brings up a good point. I think some of us got different versions. I know Harley and I got a version of the book that had a pretty long preamble about the life of him before he wrote the book. That was probably like half of the audiobook. And I
just
know
got the
Cody
straight
didn't get
text.
that.
I didn't get that either.
Just a side note. Cody gave us a 3. He has 73 reviews or ratings on Goodreads, and out of those 73, he's only given 2 stars or less.
Yeah, because I'm not reading bullshit.
That's some bullshit right there.
I'm
That's
not
some,
reading
that's,
the bullshit.
out of 73 books, no.
Use the
I
whole
can't-
scale.
If it's a book, it's a 3. I
I
feel like that's
would.
for you, Cody. If it's a book and it has writing in it, 3.
No, that's not true.
Oh,
I mean, clearly, I gave 2 things 2s. So
yeah, out of 73. Excuse me. Sidebar.
Do we have
You're
some-
a little more generous than I would be with my
it's
scores.
just when you're reading, you know, like I'm picking things that I'm like I'm not going to hate this, you know. So it's like obviously I'm not going to use the lower end of that scale that much because
Yeah.
I'm picking things that I'm fairly confident I'm going to enjoy. So
Yeah, but you didn't pick this. It could have been a 2 or a 1
no,
even.
but it was on the list.
Yeah,
It's
but
on
it
your
seems
list?
like, even if it's something just way out there, you'll find something to enjoy about most
Yeah.
things.
Well, I mean, if I like something, it's a 3. That's
I want to
what the
like
scale
something.
says.
I want to be a 3, but I can't. I can't be a 3. I'm barely a 2.
Yeah, I couldn't quite give it the 2.
Even Sterling didn't give it a 3, and this was his baby.
It's not my baby. It's just something that I was interested in reading.
This was his abused stepson.
All right, I don't know what that means, but
you
I
thought
was
it
just,
bad, you threw it
I'm
away.
interested. I like different philosophies. This was a very popular one when you look up Japanese philosophy. So I was
It is
like,
quite
all right,
popular.
I'll grab it.
I think I would have been
Are we
interested
wrong?
if it was more of a philosophy book than, what it
I
is.
agree.
Was it?
Like-
Go ahead.
If I had more of the first 2 books, like throughout the whole thing, it probably would have been a 4 for me. But like I said, it kind of tailed off for me, so that's why it got a 3. But I think there was a decent amount of good content at the beginning that I had take away.
You can't. It's instruction. It's literally an instructional book to
It is.
like on, not to be a samurai per se, but like in aspects of that lifestyle.
Martial
And-
arts.
Martial arts, and why you can write interesting scenes in a book about fighting or even martial arts or samurai fight. You can't fucking write a book about doing it because it was boring as fuck. This made me not want to, because martial arts to me, or being a samurai or whatever the fuck, or like swords and shit, that's supposed to be fun and exciting. And this man made me want to sniff glue instead. I didn't want to do any of this. And it's like, this is supposed to be badass stuff. And he's talking about it like I'm mowing the lawn,
I mean, it was everyday life for him, though, right?
Yeah, I don't want to
Well,
like
I mean,
a
it
Mr.
was like
Miyagi
mowing the lawn
here,
for him.
I want to hear his escapades, his conquests,
Well, that's just being braggadocious.
I mean,
He
he
don't
kind of
need
already was
braggadocious
bragging,
about it.
when he's going on about winning like 16 duels or something. Never
That was the
losing
only
once.
part he said. And then he never talked about the duels. He talked about building a fucking house.
Yeah, that was the good part.
Oh, we'll get into that crap.
Since this is treated like an instructional manual to some degree, what are some things do you think you might have learned from this book, something that, is new to you now?
I think that's the problem. Is not a lot of it is new. I think that if I could have gotten something new from the book, I'd give it like a 3 or something. But most of them were like, the lessons were like, be disciplined, just train, and be well rounded. So it was almost like he was a proponent of jack of all trades, master of none. But instead of master of none, he's like, just master everything. Just be disciplined in everything, and that'll lead to you enhancing like your other skills. Because he was like he talked about other professions, and I like that part because he was kind of being respectful of like the different professions people have and how they apply kind of similar mentalities to, I don't know, live their life the best way possible. But it was literally, you could boil it down to just be disciplined in everything. That was it. And
No,
I think we already know that already.
I don't think that's what it all comes down to. But
Yeah, that's what I got out of it.
yeah,
All right, I mean that's fair.
I wouldn't say I had like one thing that was a new thought, but you know, there were some that I thought were stated well. So
Yeah, I agree.
There's one thing
yeah.
that I learned that I will hope to never forget, that I learned
Okay.
strictly from this book, and that is when you
Okay.
are
What is it?
drawing a Japanese katana, and when
Okay.
you hold it, you should be firm with your pinky and your ring finger, and more loose with the other three fingers.
I
All
don't
right,
remember that
all
part.
right, Buckaroo. Let me
I
tell you a
remember
thing
that
here,
part.
okay?
And I believe the reason why he emphasizes that is because it's supposed to like give more focus on
Marriage.
like the slashing kind of like that looseness, so like the blade rolls off of the target as opposed to like hacking. I think that's what he was going for that one.
I
Yeah.
I like that
I'm
little very niche kind of like swordsman kind of tip. I thought that was cool.
that's great and all, but I'm not gonna have a fucking sword in my life.
You
And
never
if I'm gonna
know.
read, sure,
You're going to Japan soon. You never know, man.
okay, but I'm not gonna fucking. I'm a lover. Okay, I'm not gonna do anything with a fucking sword. Let alone I'm probably just gonna throw it at you. But I'm not gonna read a goddamn instruction book for fucking how to use swords. I'm gonna read an instruction book how to build an IKEA desk or something. Okay, I want to read some about samurai and katanas and the way of the sword from a man who actually can do that. And I want to hear his stories and tales. You know, I don't want to hear about how I need to work on building a fence and that will somehow give me the biceps enough to be a master swordsman.
Is
Okay,
that was that your takeaway?
that was most of my takeaway. Yeah, it's like
Wow.
fill the bath, eat an orange,
So
you're a samurai,
analytical.
and that's what it was. And
I
I'm like,
do wish he would have used more like anecdotes
no,
He
because
used a
no,
decent amount.
dude, all of
I
it
don't
was
think he did.
anecdotes. All of it was Japanese metaphors. That cliche
What
Japanese
do you mean
metaphors the entire
Japanese
time.
metaphor?
but like
What
of
are you
his
talking
own
about?
experiences.
like-
I feel like he didn't talk about his own experiences. It was just like observations.
You know, you get like you watch like a movie or show and you got like this ancient like Asian guy and he'll give you like, oh, the tree whispering in the wind, do you understand, or something like that. You know, give you like a weird metaphor and it'll and like the turtle rises above the water to smell the plum in the tree,
I
and
don't
then
think
it's
he said
like,
that.
and well, yeah, no, he was saying stuff like he said that about houses, and it's like, am I the plum, am I the house, am I the fence,
I don't
am I the nail
think
in
he
the
said
fence?
anything that abstract.
He
I think
said
everything
somebody.
was pretty
It was the
concrete.
master
It's pretty
carpenter, man.
straightforward too.
Yeah, it was pretty
No,
straightforward, like concrete metaphors, not like
So, all right, can we let's just talk about the house thing because you know that's getting confused already for no reason. So, I like that portion, right?
no.
His whole thing is like talking about how you know. Well, I think he starts off by like comparing a foreman to like a commander in war, right? Where you have to find different uses for different things, right? Like the strong, ugly wood is for hidden support, right? The wood with good appearance is best for the outsides. Small imperfections for like interior pillars, you know, so on and so forth, right? And you know, I mean, you can apply that to life too, right? It's like you know, from each according to its ability, right? You know, like
Mm.
a lot passes and you know whatever to people according to their ability, right?
I
Just like a
also
foreman building a house would do.
I also recall that for that example, he also said that before you can even become a foreman, you have to first be a carpenter, and I guess
Yep.
the skills that are fundamental should be first worked on before you can
Right.
level up and all that as
Yep.
well.
Right there. Japanese metaphors throughout the whole thing. What are you talking
He
about?
didn't say
Carpentry and
level
being a
up.
foreman is kind of like not
I
specific.
wasn't-
But it's a metaphor.
Yeah, it's a metaphor.
but it's a very straightforward
It is pretty
metaphor. There's
straightforward.
it's not abstract at
Fine,
all.
he didn't get abstract, but the amount of metaphors he gave, while not abstract, were plentiful, and they were too many, and I liked it.
Not really.
Yeah, it was. Or excuse me, he'd give me one metaphor and build upon that metaphor.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
No, he did do that.
Okay, there you go.
I-
Go ahead.
I was gonna say at certain points, when I was reading this, when you compare it to some of the other literature, it's like this came pretty late. I
1650s,
think
I
this
think,
was
right?
yeah, and to a degree, I felt like it was trying to reinvent the wheel, and I don't know. I feel like some of the older material that was written long ago was far more effective at that just
I don't
telling
know if
the
this swordsman would have had mental access to like the other literature,
no
maybe.
no no Art of War was written, and and a lot of Japanese literature before this cited it. So
What was he even writing this to be like Art of War though?
I felt like it was when I was reading this. I'm like, I think he's trying to hit the point that like the Art of War was trying to do, to be a good soldier, good commander,
You know,
a
in
swordsman kind of
Musashi's
thing.
defense, he spent his whole life training to be a martial artist, not a writer.
Well,
Yeah,
he did try
that's
to
true.
master other arts, though.
56 duels, man.
Was it
I thought it was
56?
I thought it
I
was
don't know, something like that.
64.
64. I don't remember.
Everyone
Some in
had a
there.
different.
62. 62.
62. He won 62 duels. He's allowed to write a book like this because he
Mhm.
won all the time. You would
I
you
feel like
say?
his later
Would you have?
life was
would you have
spent, mastering other arts, kind of like tea ceremony and other stuff. So I don't even give him like
I
a
think
pass for not being able to write well. It's like he's devoted
hold on.
some
I
of
think
his
the
life to
difference-
these
I think the
arts.
writing was fine. I think the writing was fine.
Yeah, I agree, and
and-
also
and
he's
as-
translated. So
Yeah,
Sure,
I was gonna say, like, for what it's worth, yeah.
the
Exactly.
writing was fine, as in there were words I could read. Yeah.
I think the Art of War is more about like being a commander, but I think this one's more about like the self and like just being a swordsman and self. Like they're like kind of similar, but they're like two different life paths, I guess.
Yeah.
I could tell you we wouldn't have had a book if duel number 33 would have went bad.
I don't think these duels are to the death. I could be wrong. Because when he talks about like different schools having like different styles of fighting, I feel like these are like competitions more so. Like maybe to,
Yeah,
like,
but you
first
get
blood.
hurt in the competition and you
Yeah,
get like
yeah.
fucking lupus or something,
Maybe
or
people can
gangrene
die as
in
well,
your
to be
day.
honest, but I don't think they're like
Oh.
intentionally supposed to be like, like he's
That-
killed 60 something people.
None of these. So you're telling me, I'm already pissed. You're telling me the one cool aspect I thought of this, him doing badass duels, he's just training. He's not even like fighting
think
for
it's
his
like-
life.
I don't
in any
think
of these.
that's. I don't think that's how it went. I'm pretty sure it was very
think he
common
killed
at the
people.
time. Duel to the death.
You
I
think
do
he
think
Okay.
there were times where he was just beating people with like wood swords
Yeah.
and stuff.
You
but-
think he's padding his stats out, like just like
Yeah,
taking
'cause,
on
like,
kids and
think-
shit.
Think about it. If anyone could just get a title saying you won a duel with a wooden sword, then there ought to be more people farming this shit.
I do
I think
they're
those
real
duels are
blades.
actual real.
I do think I
Yeah.
thought it was like because I know in like like the French times when they do like
Well-
fencing, it'd be like to first blood. They'd wear white t-shirts and like whoever drew first would be the winner.
I'm gonna chat GPT this.
So I what my impression was that because in my book like they didn't specify if he killed him or not. He just says like he struck down is
Yeah.
what the wording was. But
That's what I'd like to know. I'd like to know if there was a duel that might have affected him, like some kid taking him on and he killed him, and he's like, "Oh, that fucked me up." I'm like, I want to hear stuff like that. I want to hear.
Okay.
I don't want to hear like paintbrush techniques on how to be a
We'll
fucking
get you a
samurai,
nice
man.
little fiction book next time. How about that?
But this was
What?
real
What?
though.
What
It
is
just,
fiction book? It's
So-
real. He did duels.
So these duels that they're citing to be like 60 or whatever are actual lethal combat.
so they are
duels,
to the
meaning
death then.
He either struck his opponent down and left him alive, or they were dead.
okay, yeah, because I struck down seems pretty
Incapacitated.
violent to be honest.
Yeah, I thought we were gonna hear about that. You know,
I
like
struck down these people. That doesn't really-
or like sure, spout off about a bunch of like fighting nonsense, but give me like a reference to be like, oh, this is why this is important from this instance of my life. That would have been nice. Would have kept me more involved and not zoning out half the time.
We'll get Subway Surfers running on the side next.
Don't
time.
give me that shit because it was boring as fuck, and everyone here thinks a 3 is crazy. You need to stop gobbling on these books because we're 2 in, and I can't believe it. Don't give me that.
Arjun.
Yeah.
He did kill a guy with a wooden sword, though. So
Shit.
you know.
Okay, that must have been a personal one then.
Did they say it in the book?
no, this is
Well,
in
then there you go.
1612 when he killed a guy with a wooden sword, and this duel is considered a defining moment in Musahi's career.
I guess I thought I originally thought it was gonna be a philosophy book because Sterling said philosophy, so I'm like, oh god damn it. But when he said it was like by a famous samurai, I'm like, oh man, it's gonna be badass. You can put some fucking things in there, and that's my biggest disappointment, I guess.
He was 28 when he killed that guy.
Hey, I'm 28. I
think,
could do that.
Some of his points of like winning duels kind of upset me a little bit because I understand like why he recommended to do some of these things, but I thought they were kind of stupid. Like his kind of like psychological warfare, where he'd like shout
You think
before a
that's
fight
stupid?
or like in the middle of it. I mean a little bit. I know it will win you a fight because
He's playing dirty.
The whole. I
Yeah,
mean, he said the
like, if the
entire point
fights-
is winning.
Yeah.
yeah,
No
if the
bullshit, really.
Ooh.
if but like but for like
Uh-huh.
if it's not to the death and you're just fighting for like demonstration of your skill, I feel like that is such a stupid way to win a duel.
A
that
duel to the death.
I don't appreciate it. But if
I
it's a duel to the
disagree.
death, then I would appreciate it more because you're just trying to live.
Wait, you appreciate
You're
him yelling
you're
more
trying
for
to
the duel
use
to death? than the
everything
other?
at your disposal to win. That is the point of the duel.
I thought the way of the
Every point is
samurai
to
was
win.
fine.
your. Well,
I just
That
thought
is
the
one of the
way-
duels, and you're.
Nobody, hold on. Nobody
it's
said the
beneficial.
samurais played fair. Yeah.
I thought the way of the samurai was to be honor bound.
No, it's to win.
Not necessarily.
he
There's
even a
some-
In
samurai?
reality, like samurais are pretty
Is
terrible.
he a samurai?
I
No,
don't even
he's
think
just
he's
a martial
samurai.
artist.
He's a Ronin. He's a Ronin.
Oh,
That's what it
oh,
says.
oh.
Basically, a samurai
Yeah,
without a
he's
lord.
He said the entire point is to win. Like
Oh.
that.
Oh, he's an asshole.
Well, if you're gonna fight, you're gonna
I mean,
use
But was
everything
he
at your
starting the fights?
disposal.
Was he
I'm not
starting the
gonna
fights? Was he
I
starting
think
the
it's
fights?
very
That's
realist.
important.
I think it's a very realist approach to winning. It's like
Not if he's going around fighting people himself.
Yeah,
like
They
he's
have to
choosing
except
the
if
fight.
it's like a
duel,
practice
I
duel.
assume.
If the opponent, I think, falls
Nobody
to
said
emotion,
you need to win.
Why would
means-
you practice differently than how an actual duel would go? Otherwise, the practice is meaningless if you're not going to practice.
Yeah.
the
Now
way
I
it
hate
would
this guy
actually
even
go.
I don't know. Like to win a duel, it's not just about swords. You know,
It's about like the mind as well, like your mental state.
Yeah.
Like honing your stoicism, so you're not like.
I get it. No,
Maybe
I
I
will
understand
say-
the points. I just think it's dumb. It's like
You're not
if,
going to have much of a mind if it gets
I
locked
will
off.
say this is where I think the book kind of falls short because it's written from the individual's perspective. Because in the Art of War, Sun Tzu pretty much said, if you can win a battle without actually killing anyone, that's the most effective way of winning. So if you translate that to the older text, it actually makes a lot of sense because in this case, you don't lose any people and you win the battle. You scared your guys off. Which I think like this one of my criticism for the book is because it's written from an individual perspective. It doesn't translate every well because people see it differently. But when you look at it from a bigger scale, it starts to make sense, in my opinion. Because again, both book wants you to win with the maximum amount of best outcome. That's my take on the two books.
I think they're both good for
Sorry,
different
sorry.
scenarios.
How come he gets to mention Art of War, but I can't mention Journey to Center of the Earth?
You can mention Journey.
Oh, I'm going to, but Arjun yelled at me.
I didn't yell at you, but
I hate this guy. No, I hate this guy. I didn't know he was doing that. I didn't know he
Well-
was cheating.
He wasn't cheating.
Wait,
That's
cheat.
what.
He was.
You also got the big intro at the start of your version of the book.
He's doing pocket sand. He's doing like shit like that.
that is what it's kind of like. You know, if it for like
You're
one-on-one
fighting
duels.
to the death. What?
I thought he was
Right,
bound.
but some of these weren't.
No,
To
he
the
didn't
death.
say anything about honor. Like
He just
once.
treated them like they were to the death,
Yes.
even if they were just kind of like wooden
It's a
swords.
duel.
And shit
Well,
like
why
that.
am I listening to an instruction book on a guy who fights dirty, and he's
'Cause
telling
he's
me,
winning.
hey,
Because
you
he's
should also
winning.
fight dirty. So I
Yeah.
should cheat. The life lesson
It's
is
not
cheat
cheating.
when you can.
Oh my
I don't.
It's
I
not
don't think
cheating.
it's
They're
Cheat.
rules.
What? Cheat.
You're making up your own rules.
Cheating is only acceptable in life-threatening situations.
What?
Your
Is that-
emotional state reflects the way you fight. So
Don't give
being
me
able to
some fucking fortune
influence-
cookie bullshit. I just asked.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so he's fighting dirty, or he's fighting any means. Let me rephrase. He's fighting by any means necessary to win in a death duel. And this is an instruction book for others. So the instruction is in life-threatening
Well,
situations.
instruction book might be for his school.
Yeah, but ideally he'd want more people to join his school who are worthy, or anybody. I don't know what the fuck he's thinking, but when applicable to life-threatening situations, do whatever you can, aka cheat, if that's
not
what
cheating.
needs.
I don't.
If
I don't
that's
know,
what
did he
needs to be.
say to cheat, or was that just like a "this is what I
No,
did"?
It's employing
no
every
one said
tool you
cheat.
have. in
No
your
one
We
life.
never
ever
said
said
cheating,
anything
but
about cheating.
I
That's
get it.
gnarly.
That
But
seems
it
like
basically
cheating.
is.
It basically is.
It basically isn't. What?
if there's no rules, that could be cheat.
Yeah.
So
It's a
play
tool.
dirty.
It's a tool.
Fight dirty if it's death.
Psychological.
I wouldn't even say
warfare.
it's
Is it
dirty.
dirty if it
Well,
was?
let me hold on.
So if I have
I mean-
a gun, if I tell the guy, hey,
Oh.
I'm gonna fight to the death with a sword, and I have a gun and I shoot him, that's cool.
If that's okay, that's not a martial arts duel though.
That's just murder.
But I should do anything that I can to win.
Can we say is cheating justified under certain scenarios?
That's a
In
different
life-threatening
conversation.
ones.
That's a different conversation.
What is a different conversation? It's in the book. He does it.
I'm not saying like it's wrong or
It's
right. I'm
not
just saying that I didn't
cheating.
like it.
So I think what this guy is trying to say is in his book is the end justify the means.
Okay, so if I have a gun and I use it in my duel, that's cool.
Yeah.
Shit
I
talking someone in
I
a
think
sword
you
fight is
But
not the
I'm
same as
wondering.
going
I'm
out of
actually.
line.
I'm not.
I think that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Well,
That's
okay,
fine.
if it's a duel, there's probably rules against that.
But if it's a
Okay.
duel to the death, it's
A
like
life threatening or yeah.
Like, if it's a martial arts duel, yeah, you probably can't use a gun. That's probably against
Well, that's
the
what he
rules.
was in. It was martial arts tools.
just a quick
Yeah,
sidebar.
okay,
This-
but screaming is not against the rules. That is way in play.
Well,
That's not even
John-
dirty.
Just a quick sidebar. This is the part of the book club that Cody hates because it has nothing to do with the book.
Yeah, that's
This
why
has to
I
do with the
muted
book.
and said.
That's why he muted him. Whatever. What were you saying?
Whatever.
No. Yeah, he's a cunt. I think this guy's a douche now. I don't like
Oh
him.
my god.
That's
I
glad.
don't think
know.
that. I just, I don't.
You-
I'm not giving him like a pass. It's
You
just,
think he's fighting dirty?
He did it. I don't care if it's right or wrong. I just don't like that part. That's all I'm saying about the
That's
kind
a
of like
fair take to
psychological
have.
warfare and like is like it's all about distractions and creating
hold
opportunity.
on.
That I can appreciate. But
Hold it.
yeah,
Hold it.
he just made it sound goofy rather than I don't know.
I didn't take it.
I'd like
something
to add-
replicate.
A quote here that I had written in my notes here about,
Oh.
might be relevant to this. Don't die with an undrawn weapon.
That's a good one.
You ever think about that?
That's a good one.
He's not going to die without, screaming and spit on the guy's shoe, to get him mad and get him
I'm all
distracted.
for fighting dirty. Absolutely, let's do it. In life,
It's not dirty.
It's not dirty to spit in the
That's
guy's
a little
eye.
dirty. It's fighting
I'm
dirty.
saying-
He
I'm
didn't
saying
say the
to
ice
yell.
on his shoe.
It's like the book of fire, right?
Or
Fight with
what?
everything
What
you
on
have.
his shoe?
Like
I
if
think he
he's
said
just
spit on
yelling.
his shoe, not in his eye.
Well, same idea.
I don't know. You're fixated on these eye, like going after the eye.
No, I just said eye. I thought it.
I
I just said, but I just said as a
I think
example.
I think in the context of like how we interpret a willful and ethical swordsman would be, it does make him look like a piece of shit. But
I thought he was that.
He's
But-
a Ronin, not a samurai.
and-
No, he
But
also
just he just won fights.
Well,
He's
why
not-
the hell
if
am
you-
I
if you
trying to
look at-
take lessons from a Ronin?
Because he won.
So
52
do
times.
anything to win.
And within the rules, if it's a duel. I mean, in
If it's
war,
a
yeah, do
life-threatening
anything.
duel,
to-
isn't anything goes in a life-threatening
No,
duel?
you can't.
I
I
don't
don't think
think
you can
he's
use a
telling
gun in a
people-
martial arts duel.
I don't think that he's telling people to do exactly what he did, but I think that he is saying this is what I did and I won 60 some duels.
No, I think he's pretty explicitly telling you.
yeah, I
to
think
This
he's
is how you
distract
win.
your opponent. He explicitly is telling you to do that.
See, this is what I mean. This is what I'm trying to say. Because in Prince, by Machiavelli, where he's telling you how to be a good politician, he's essentially telling you to playing dirty, and he's not ashamed of it. He just tells you, get down and dirty, fuck your opponent, kill him. Yeah, well, some of his quotes were like, if you worry about revenge, then deal a blow, or you don't have to worry about it. In that context, especially modern like perspective, that makes total sense because it's written to be a greedy politician. But because it comes from, again, a samurai or a Ronin in this case, where people kind of, I think especially in modern culture, where we look at these guys and we'd be like, wow, look at that, they're all noble and whatnot. It does make them look like a piece of shit. But I don't know what the historical context is. As far as I'm aware, samurais were pretty scary. They were actually not very noble at all. A lot of times they terrorized people. Whereas in popular culture, they're like very noble. I don't know if that's like a reflection of our interpretation of the past, or this guy's just being truthful. Stab the motherfucker in the eye and kill him.
You just
Who
made
knows?
me more depressed from that than reading the actual book. All
Welcome to
my
history,
samurai
buddy.
dreams have
Yeah.
been smashed.
You get for being a weeaboo.
I know.
Wait till you learn about katanas and how shit they are at swords.
Yeah, because there's a gun. Because they made guns, and there's no point in having them.
Yeah. Pretty much.
All right, I'm not listening to anything this guy said at all.
Wow,
You were gonna listen to him
I
anyway.
didn't take anything from it anyway.
Except how to build a house. Do you know how to build a house now? What are some aspects of the book that really drew us in? What are some big highlights? We've been kind of touching on that. What's some big other big highlights we might not have mentioned?
I
for
think another
these
big
people.
I took away.
I got
is,
triggered by something, but sorry, you go first.
is I feel like he really kind of hammered this in the last few chapters, but it's to just seize the initiative.
Yeah.
Like you're always going to be in an
Oh, yeah,
advantageous
yeah.
position if you move first. And I think that's applicable outside of martial arts too. Just
For real.
taking the initiative is going to put you in so much of a better situation than waiting for things to happen.
Especially when you're like on the back foot, like when you're like fighting like more opponents than like when you're by yourself or something like that.
Hmm.
Like striking first, what is it, funneling them like a fish in a barrel, or like fighting side to side and shit like that.
Yeah, and yeah, I don't remember if he touched on it at all in the first couple chapters, but the last
Cody
last
does.
few, he definitely kind of brought that home. Just taking the initiative is good.
Yeah.
Codes
I,
for
uh,
What
What
you
life?
could beat 10 guys, you could beat 100 guys.
What life lessons am I supposed to take from this book? It's an instruction book. What am I supposed to
Take
do?
the initiative, Harley.
Take the
Is that the
initiative.
only thing I should learn from this?
I don't know. It's the only thing I got.
I zone out a lot.
Hold your
man.
katana firmly
I
with
don't
your
remember
pinky
any
and
of
ring
this.
finger.
I don't remember that. I do. I have some notes, which I'll I have some notes on the few moments that made me go like, oh. There's like not a lot of those, but there was moments where I was like, oh. But is Cody back? He's sending messages. Okay. Arjun, would you like to get into your triggered event?
No,
Right after this ad read.
so yeah, the thing that triggered me a lot is when the author was talking about how, okay, you have a spearman, right? You have the guy who uses a spear, he's called a spearman, right? You have a guy who uses a gun, he's a
Or woman.
marksman.
I
You have a
get
guy who
Right.
uses a bow, he's a bowman.
Spear woman.
But if you have someone who uses a
That's
sword,
archer right there.
you don't call them a long swordsman, you call them a strategist. That thing irked me. Like, hello? You call them a fucking swordsman. What are you talking about?
Mm.
This feels
Oh,
like
that's
something that
his-
like someone
that's
who's really
his-
pompous and proud would say. Like, oh no,
That
you don't understand.
once again a pompous ass book.
Here's the thing, though. Like, what if that's a translation thing, though?
That
Like,
is
what
very
if there
true. That's
isn't?
possible. That's
What if
actually very
there
possible.
isn't
Yeah.
a word?
I thought he said you call him a martial artist.
In mine, it was strategist.
I think that's what it was for me too.
You think I'm gonna believe a
Like,
dirty
strategy goes
Ronin?
in all
Just
kinds
in,
of warfare. Like if you're using a bow,
in
you're still using
Chinese,
strategy.
in like Chinese or kanji, like swordsman just means warrior. So that could just be like. I could see it
He
being the
mentions that
translation.
in the book, I
What
think.
does spear person mean in that?
So like, I think that's just referring to like a role in the army.
I think so
But
too.
when he was saying like when you're a warrior, you have the freedom to choose to like apply your skill or knowledge or something like that. Because when I was reading like the translated version of like the Art of War, there were like words I'm like, that's not. I could totally see why some people would get confused by that because in Chinese it's different. For example, you know.
But yeah, that was one small thing that when I read it, I was like, "Are you kidding me?" Is he
What
taking
else
the piss?
upset you, or Arjun?
That was the only thing that pissed me off, really.
What other highlights do you have?
Other highlights.
Noah's all for initiative. What about you?
I mean, I was
Same,
for
or
initiative as well.
anything else? You like the pinky? You like the
I
pinky
do
play?
like the pinky and the ring finger. Yeah, that was a
You
good
like
one.
the pinky play?
But
Anything else stand out to you?
yeah, I don't know. Aside from that, like it was a bit too instructional for me, I'd say.
Oh. Harry, what about you? What stands out for you?
Well, like I said, I like the cultural element of it because I think, you know, I read the Italian version, the Chinese version, and it's kind of interesting to see a Japanese version. You know?
Italian version.
He's saying like different
what is
books, like the
Oh yeah, different books.
Machiavelli, and
Yeah.
that? Oh,
they're kind of like
okay.
thematically maybe similar, but yeah.
Is
Yeah,
this the Japanese art of war?
I would say so, but
Kind
like the Art of War was like used by a lot of Asian
Yeah.
Genghis
you're-
Khan used it. And
Yeah, if you're a
he cited
commander
it
of an
too,
army,
so.
then you read Art of War. If you're like a cutthroat politician, then you read like The Prince. And then if you're like, I guess like maybe
you're
like
a
an
house builder,
athlete
you read this
or
one.
like someone who's like trying to train themselves in their skill, then you'd probably read like Five Rings, because it's more about the self. I think this book.
Huh.
No, I think it's an interesting book. I think it's just it didn't translate too well in time, maybe. But aside from that, I liked it. Just
I don't even
not
think
love it.
it's. I don't think it's all just lost in translation. I think it's because one
I don't think there was
thing
that much
about
lost.
Musashi is that I'm pretty sure he didn't really have a master, so
He was
he
a Ronin.
learned.
Yeah,
Mm.
Okay, well, he learned most of these things himself. So I
I'm
think
busy right
that
now.
he
I'll eat
spoke
later.
plainly because
It was their version
you
of Andrew Tate.
I don't think that shallow is the right word for him because I think that he like understood his art very well, but I think the way that he talked about it was it was like too straightforward.
So
Like in a way that is like a very good. He was probably very good at his art, but not a great
let me
teacher.
let me ask you this, right? If he didn't win like 65 duels and you read this, would you just say this is like the work of some crazy person, or would you say there's
Yeah,
credibility
because
behind it?
he'd have no credibility if he wrote the book. I
Because
already think
yeah, because sorry, good.
I already think he's a turd, man, fighting dirty and whatnot. I don't know. I don't like this guy
Because
now.
for a lot of people, their credibility comes from what they did IRL.
Okay,
You know,
because here's the problem again with the book. I don't know who this guy is. They don't tell anything about his life at all, really. Did they say he's a Ronin in the book?
it says
I
it
don't
on
think so.
Wikipedia.
I don't even know
Okay,
if he is a Ronin.
Okay, well, either way, he's I don't know anything about this man. Why am I listening to this man when there's not even like a little preamble about him? I don't know who he is. Yeah, so I might as well be reading
We'll
from a
start
crazy
having
person.
authors post their resume at the start of the book.
I prefer
I mean,
that if I'm
Harley
reading a
and I
philosophy
read a
book.
version of the book that did have a preamble
It
about
did
his
have a
life.
preamble, and it talked about him winning the duels, and about him dying in a cave or something where he died. And that wasn't even enough to. I don't think they even said he was a Ronin in mine, but
I don't know if it's confirmed that he was.
I feel like you
Just-
should know a
I-
bit of the
I think-
person if you're going to
think in-
listen to their
I don't think
philosophy
it's
lessons
literal. Like I don't think he's
or their
literally a
instructions.
Ronin, but
I think in
it's sort of
Japan,
romanticized, kind of.
there's in China there's a class of like like a social class that you're birthed into it, like it's inherited. Like in Chinese it's called shizu, like just means like the warrior class. If you don't have a lord to serve, you're typically considered to be a Ronin. Um, but like your birth will be registered as part of that class because that class was inherited. When the Meiji Restoration took place in Japan, they had to get rid of that class, and that's when they had a little bit of a civil dispute / war kind of thing because it was radical change. But I do believe that he was like part of that class of classification because it's hard to make shit up, you know. Yeah.
I don't think it's that hard to make shit up. I could probably write something
I
pretty
could
similar.
I could make this up. I could do this. We got chat GPT.
And don't
I
get me
can do it
wrong,
easy.
I did like certain things. Like when he just listed his principles, I loved that. When he's just like, one, do this.
But
Two,
what if he's lying?
I don't care if he's lying. This is
Oh.
because I don't have to take. It's not like every time I read a book, everything is true in that book. Philosophy is more just about, okay, here's some things to think about. What do you think?
But isn't it more
Like, I
of
don't
an
have to agree with
instructional book
everything.
than a
I can agree with
philosophy
certain
book?
things. Right, but I would rather look at the philosophical context than the martial arts and instructional context.
So listen to the philosophy parts. Don't listen to the instructional parts.
Well, that's what my takeaway is. I want
Oh.
to get something out of the philosophical parts. I care less about the martial art aspect.
When you picked this, did you realize it wasn't that much philosophy in it?
I thought there would be more, but I knew it was going to be very heavily martial arts focused.
All right, Cody, bust out the list. What do you got? What notes do you got? Let's hear them.
As far as like things I liked, or just
The
everything?
whole thing. Let's get into
Well,
the notes.
I didn't write any notes down about his history. I was hoping that the people with the intro would bring.
We did a little bit of his history, throughout. Sorry, go ahead.
So yeah, I mean, like as far as things I liked, I liked the whole foreman, carpenter comparison, or not comparison, but metaphor, I guess. The whole a lot according to a building, ask nothing unreasonable. One other thing I wrote down related to that was
No, I'm busy right now, I said.
Foremen should always know the morale, spirit of their workers, right? And then encourage when necessary. I believe he also says that, even if you're, a carpenter, right, you should account for the work of others despite, just being in that lowly, position, right? So I think that is applicable to, today still, just like in your normal work life.
Right.
He said that a strategist, makes small things into big things, right? So like abstracting, what you learn to accomplish a small task, right, and then apply that to a larger thing, right? And I think he also says like, from one thing learn 10,000, right? So, which is going back to that idea of abstraction and learning things that can apply to multiple aspects of your life and not just narrow focus in life and have no awareness of what's going on around you. I like that. Don't die with an undrawn weapon. I don't think that's just a weapon. I mean, I think that applies to life, right? Always consider the different avenues you can take in life, right? Never don't I guess have regrets about not drawing a weapon,
It is like
Another
better
quote
to
here.
fail than have not tried at all, kind of, I
Yep.
guess.
Yep. Another quote here is things are difficult at first, but so is everything.
That was a good one.
Yeah, I thought that was a good quote here. Don't have a favorite weapon. It's a fault to have a favorite weapon, and don't copy others. Use according to your own ability. So that is kind of like you could apply that to your everyday life, right? Not doing the same thing every day of your life, like doing something different to better accomplish your goals in life, right? So and I guess this kind of goes along with it. He in one section he talks about disliking fixedness in swords and in hands. And he says that pliability is a living hand, right? And I feel like same thing, right?
Gotta be adaptable.
Yep. I think I have one more here. Oh yeah. So when he's like listing off like all the tenets of his life, right? There are a couple that I liked. I like the know the way of every art, don't think dishonestly, develop an intuitive judgment and understanding for everything, and do nothing that is of no use. And he said investigate this thoroughly a lot. That is something that really meant a lot to him.
That was my other note. Every 2 seconds, you should investigate this thoroughly.
Yeah, which I mean, the idea is, I think that he introduces the idea in the book, and he's like, all right, now you got to practice this because you can read how I'm saying to do this, but unless you actually put it into practice, it's not going to mean anything.
He says that as well,
So,
yeah. Like
Yep.
verbatim.
So there you go. That's my notes. I
That's
don't
pretty good
really
notes.
have much on the history. I read a post where one of his duels he did fight a guy with an oar.
Yeah,
because it gave him longer reach.
Yeah.
So he just beat the guy with an oar. So that's pretty cool.
Okay.
Read that too.
Yeah, I don't know how you guys can be like, oh yeah, those philosophy lessons or those instructional lessons, they're good. Whereas I'm like, this guy, I don't respect him. Why would I want to listen to these things he tells me?
Well, you're applying
Why
your
don't you
modern
respect him?
sensibilities to
Mm.
a guy that you don't know. It's
Yeah,
like,
okay, because we evolve and adapt. So I would think now
Right.
you should think this man's lessons are hogwash.
I don't know, like, I see where Cody's coming from, but I do think Harley makes a good point, because I have read some books, again, that translates very well into the modern life.
The principles
And-
themselves are timeless. It's just the flavor is what's of the past.
Yeah, but it's by a man who could have lied and does what he wants.
Yeah, but Harley's whole thing is, he's
it's different.
in his fighting, so I don't like him.
Yeah.
Somewhat, yeah.
Yeah, so I give no credence to that at all.
Why?
Beating someone
didn't-
with an oar is like he won the fight. Like, good job.
But that's like a strategy, right? I mean, he's like, oh, I have better reach on this guy if I take this giant ore.
You don't want
No
to
one's
know.
like, yeah, an ore is an optimal weapon for me to beat this guy in a duel. You know?
You don't want to know more about the man giving you the lessons that you've taken to heart.
That sounds more to me more like art of winning than art of martial arts.
He said the entire point of martial arts was
Is
to win.
to win.
Okay.
That is the point. The point is to win.
I think you're applying your like Western interpretation on martial art.
Absolutely, because I want to get, something. I want to take what is here.
That doesn't
and
take his credence away.
modernize
Like,
it.
he's just saying like this is how I see it.
Right. I'm saying I don't like that.
I mean, his view is probably more accurate than yours is.
Well, it's
You don't
what do
know
you
that.
mean
He could
view?
lie.
It's just he applied things that I would not apply because I don't feel like I need to. In life, I don't need to win.
Right.
It's not like something that I need to do. So, and I'm not a martial artist, so I'm not applying that to anything.
But you can also like apply the concepts to something like if you're like training for something, like if you're an athlete or if you're just trying to like work on self-improvement as well. I think the principles can
True,
translate.
but I'm not going to cheat on the way to self-improvement.
I don't think he cheats though.
He never cheated.
He does what it takes. He does whatever's necessary to get his goal.
I would do okay. I wouldn't do anything necessary to.
I think he's
I
just
don't-
trying to say
myself.
the
I
end
don't-
justify the means, which is.
I don't think
Right,
he's even trying to say in life that, do whatever it takes to win. He's saying in martial arts specifically, the
Right,
goal is to win. I don't think he's saying that that's a life goal.
right. I'm not saying that that's what he's saying. I'm saying that's what I'm taking and trying to apply it to
Why?
because that's what I want out of the book. I'm not saying that's what the book's about.
I just don't understand why we should take the values from this guy compared to everyone else back then.
He's the one that the work survived from.
It's not like
So
I don't even know if it
Because
was
that's all we have
popular
available.
right when he read it. I think it got popular, many years after he died or something.
Well, I think he was like a
It's
local
only because
celebrity
he won.
back in the day. Yeah, I think
Was
he was
he?
like a
Okay.
celebrity back in the day. People be like, "Damn, look at this motherfucker, killed a lot
Yeah.
of people."
you
He was like
better
one of
be.
the
And,
best martial
He'll come
artists,
around,
right?
Yeah,
he'll come
I mean,
around
people-
shouting at you.
Yeah, I mean, again, like just because he was a celebrity and then he left the work, sometimes the work people leave behind sort of defines their personality. Whereas in reality, they were famous for something else, but because they were famous and they wrote a book, people kind of remember them by the book they wrote. That's actually a problem with Machiavelli. People say like, man, look at this guy. He actually wrote these books when he was under house arrest, so a lot of his theories were never tested. Which like a lot of modern people kind of look at this and say like, you're actually kind of a failure politically speaking. Your theories are untested, and you wrote this after you died. But people remember you for your books, which are untested, and people kind of treat you like a celebrity. It could be the case with this guy. People might have
this
viewed him
guy,
like an
he was
asshole.
tested. He
Oh, you're
won.
true.
Yeah,
You're right. You're right. I'm just saying, like, sometimes the work doesn't define the person, or the person doesn't like define the work. Just look at him.
But actions do define a person, and he took, these actions that I'm kind of like, well, that wasn't so good. I mean, he won.
Why are we so latched on to that?
Yeah,
don't
I have
know.
no idea
Because
why
it's
you
the
guys
author. It's the author of the book. Why would I not want to learn more about the author giving me
You
these fucking
don't. You
lessons?
don't do that at all.
What do you mean? He's the one writing the instructions
Cody.
for me to use. Why would I want to learn the man behind the words that wrote?
I
Especially
feel
when he's
you're
giving me
not putting
instructions.
in any effort to.
Yeah, you're not
actually
trying to
do
learn this guy. You're just being like, oh,
Yeah,
I
just
didn't
like-
like
I latched
that.
on to
That
one
tactic
quote
seemed
in the book.
shady.
Why would I want to
This is-
learn from a man who has? I don't want to learn my values from that. Where I go to another man who has values or honor bound aspects.
I mean, if you want to learn honor, you can.
A man who
learn it
fits
from
my
someone that's
mold.
honorable. This
Okay,
guy's
that's
just-
what I'm saying. Why I didn't
No.
know he wasn't honorable because they didn't say that in the freaking book.
Yeah, they never said it was an honorable thing. So
I don't
why are
think he ever
you
claimed
like
he's honorable.
applying this logic to it?
Well, because it's all bullshit.
I don't
No.
think we're not applying it to the book. We're taking it
Harley
from
is.
the book.
I'm
and-
taking it
He's
from the
applying it
book
to
and
the
applying it.
author.
Yeah, the author wrote
This is like-
nonsense.
This is like Harley hating Jackie.
No,
Chan
he
'cause
wrote
cheated on his
martial.
wife.
He wrote
Yeah, that's
about
what you
martial
do.
arts, and your concept of what martial arts is isn't accurate.
And it was bullshit. He wrote a maniac wrote a bunch of crap, and it's like, why should I listen to this maniac?
Because he was like the most accomplished martial artist. That's why.
Okay, so the life lesson from this is to fight like this man at all means possible when life's on the line.
You know, he talked a lot more about stuff other than yelling and
Yeah.
Yeah, he wrote about a here. I'll tell you my
one
notes.
chapter,
Here's
if that.
here's my notes I got. Which this will show you the two spectrums of book club here. Me and Cody. This is what I have. First of all, he talked a lot of the way of the master, and then he would insert a job here. He did carpenter, and he did some other ones. What else did he do? He did
merchants.
He did merchants. He did merchants. He had like 5 of them. And I don't remember.
I have the list. Hold on. I think I have the list at least. Gentlemen, farmers, artisans, and merchants.
Okay. And I was like, we should have a modernized version of that. Like corporate men. And
I
thought,
think that probably still applies, don't you think?
no, because he's a fucking lunatic, and I'm not going to apply that.
Okay.
Why is he a lunatic?
Because he's lying about his life, and he's shouting.
Don't lie about anything. What are you talking about?
But you don't know if he's not lying. You don't know.
You were just saying that he doesn't talk about his life at all in the book. So
he's lying about his life lessons. He's lying about his life lessons.
It's a philosophy. How do you lie?
Or he could have lied about his history.
Lying about anything. What?
You don't know that. It was from the 16th
but you're accusing him of lying with no basis at all. Like,
and you're saying he's telling the truth with no basis at all.
I'm going off of what we have. You're making stuff up that doesn't exist.
Well, you never know.
We gotta have a requirement to read the wiki now for
you have to do it. I said so we should have modern jobs. I was like, I wonder if it would work in reverse, where he's talking about carpentry to swordsmanship. Maybe if you want to be a carpenter, you can talk about swordsmanship metaphors to be a better carpenter. What do you think of that?
Sure.
Think that would work?
Yeah.
You're use the sword like the pinky play, and then use it for a hammer. Or a saw.
That's not a metaphor. That's just an instruction.
Oh yeah, that part would be, but like the part about sculpting down the wood.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to make a metaphor for it, I'm sure you can make it work.
Well, that's all that guy did was make metaphors or elaborate
Not
on
really.
one.
No.
And then I have it here.
That was my complaint.
He had some intense feet talk on chapter 3, 8 minutes in, and I was zoning out completely. And then he said toenails, and I have that time stamped 8 minutes in chapter 3 on my book. And he was talking about placing your feet, and he went into some really intense detail about placing your feet in my book.
I think he did.
I didn't remember that either, but he did timestamp it, so
Yeah, I don't think it was intense detail like he's saying.
I'm gonna pull that up here on the book while you guys talk about the next.
I'm
thing.
sure he talked about foot placement, but it was probably
intense.
In as much detail as everything else in the book.
It was intense. Yeah, like a good 5 to 10 minutes of feet placement and toe maneuvering. And you talk about digging your toenails in at least 3 times. I was like, whoa. And then he talked about killing from the heart. And I was like, that's pretty rad. And that was the other part I liked.
Until you found out his heart's all about yelling. And
that's badass. I mean, if he's going to be a cunt, he's going to be like a ruthless ass. At least that was cool. Like, you're going to be ruthless. Don't just tell me to, fight your way, because I'm not going to be that guy, But if I want to hear more about slicing hearts, that was pretty sick. And I wrote that. I don't know what that timestamp was, but that was pretty fun. And then I zoned out again.
Yep.
A 2.
Harley makes me want to give the book a higher score.
Please do. I'll lower mine, so it'll
well.
add out. It'll average out. I'll give it a 1. You give it a 2.
Just
like, I'm pretty sure
everything he says is.
I don't like it. Yeah, I have to make up my own stories for the book, because the actual book doesn't do it for me. You like anything? What are you talking about?
I don't like anything.
That's crazy, because you said like, and you only use that for books. That's You need to get down to reality. I'll admit that I'm saying some BS, but you need to come back down from whatever atmosphere you're up in with the 3s and come down to planet Earth.
He's not anything crazy, man.
It's a bit crazy for this book. Noah's over here giving a 1.75.
I'm going up.
Going up now,
Convinced me. Yeah, everything
Go
he
right
said
ahead.
I hated so much.
dude. I should be the best seller.
I'm contemplating a 3 now.
All right, I'll lower mine to a 1, and then we'll even out.
So I take it that's like a wrap for the current book discussion.
Oh, any closing remarks? Any
We do
closing
need some
remarks?
closing remarks.
I like the book.
I think this is
That's
a
a 3.
good book
okay.
if you want something that's gives like a historical or cultural insight to like a past, like the 1650s of Japan. Maybe can give you some insight there. If you're researching maybe like combat of the Japanese era, that could also be a good book to reference. But for enjoyment's sake, if you're looking for something just to enjoy leisurely, I don't think this is the book for you.
No.
I think that the first 2 books were good, and I mean it's a short read, and honestly, I'd say just go for it.
Yeah, it is extremely short. Like you can just read it very quickly, pound
Sure.
that out in an hour. And
Shorter than however long we probably recorded this for. So
oh yeah, for sure.
We're probably close to the hour-long version of it.
We're at
That's
1
what
hour
I'm saying.
45 seconds.
Hey.
Yeah, I agree with Arjun. From like just a general, I take enjoyment from this. It's not high, but you take into account all that other stuff, and you're reading for historical context and all that stuff. It definitely goes up a little bit.
Sterling, the man of the hour here. What final remarks? This was your book. Oh,
I was gonna say, you gonna ask Harry? Have
oh,
Sterling
sorry.
wrap up?
No, go ahead. Sorry, my bad.
I think it was all right. I wouldn't go too harsh on it, just because, in my opinion, all these historical books, they all don't really stand to the testament of time.
Hmm.
But when I read it, it was interesting to see how swordsmen back in the day kind of viewed the concept of winning. So I think that was pretty interesting, at least from that perspective. It's nice to get a peek of what people in the past looked at these things. So I it was all right. It was all right. Obviously, it doesn't translate to. I mean, look at the stupid discussions we're having. Yeah. So yeah, there you go. It's
I think Miyamoto
I think-
Musashi would have definitely benefited from, instead of writing a book, he just had like a podcast as well, like easily, where he just had like the people like to talk to. Because I feel like this is like kind of just like the book is kind of like a rant in a way, but not a rant, but more of like he just wants to talk to somebody, I think, about these things, and that
I
just
think if
doesn't
his-
translate to a book
Yeah,
that well.
he's
Maybe.
going crazy in his old age. He had nobody to tell these lessons to.
I think if his readers had some critical thinking skills, that'd probably help.
Or if he made a good fucking book, it would help.
damn, chill. Shit. God damn.
Any other closing remarks from anyone else?
I think we covered about
All
everything.
You want to wrap it?
Sterling, take the floor. Wrap it up, baby.
We also do have to discuss, next week. Not next week, but like the
We-
next assignment, if you will.
We'll get to that fucking elephant here in a second. But go ahead, Sterling. Wrap this bad boy up.
I was Book of Five Rings. There we go.
What were your
talked about
closing remarks?
There
You don't,
was.
have any, you don't have any closing remarks yourself?
Nope.
All right, there you go. Glad Sterling's in 8 weeks. What's next for our readers? All 2 of them watching this podcast.
Harley,
generous.
you had a lot to say. I feel like the floor should be yours, Senator.
For
You
what?
should pick a book for us.
I'm not. It's not my turn. It is Noah's turn.
Harley picked the
is it?
last one.
I picked
I
this
see.
last one and I fucked up. So when I come back around, don't worry, I'll get my time. But it is Noah's turn.
Yeah, so we're gonna do Lonesome Dove.
Oh
for the,
yeah.
next one. Harley and Sterling taking a month-long trip to Japan soon. I think what we'll end
Just
up
doxed
doing.
us.
Oh, sorry. They know you'll be in the country of Japan. They're gonna
Forget us.
find you. I think what we're gonna do is just see how much people read by then and talk about that much. So it's a pretty lengthy book compared to these other 2, and then we'll just go from there.
Oh,
That'll probably be like at least 2 weeks, right?
Well, for you, I was about
Yeah.
to say it's gonna be at least 2 days. Cody will have it
So,
done.
do we want to just like see how much we can get done by the 17th and then just talk then, or
Yeah, I think that's
'cause then you
16th,
fly on the
17th,
18th, right?
something like that.
we We fly on the 18th. So yeah, 17th.
Okay.
Maybe
Or slightly
16th.
earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or slightly earlier. We could do the 16th. 16th might work better, or a little bit
I might
earlier.
not want to
but-
do it the day before the.
Yeah, maybe not the actual day before, but 16th or 15th, Tuesday or Wednesday. I might.
But yeah,
miss.
we'll see how far we get. I'm sure everyone will be at different spots, but definitely not getting through that whole thing by
The
then.
Lonesome Dove.
Yeah,
Who's that by?
Larry McMurtry.
Larry McMurtry, and this is a western, right? Western
Yeah.
book.
Yep.
So I'm a little excited. I'm a little excited for this one. I've gotten cut 2 times here, so I'm.
I think this one will be the most like contemporary. When you
That's
think
all
of
I'm asking.
a contemporary novel, be the closest to that so far.
All right, sounds great.
All right, we are signing off
Well-
then.
Thanks for joining the podcast here, our reading podcast.
Episode
See y'all later.
2. Oh yeah.